Welcome back to the channel. You are now watching Mrs Lilac Crypto Podcast. Stay tuned, this program is about to start. Welcome back to the Mrs Lilac Crypto Podcast today. It's good to see all of you here again. It's been a while, and today I have a very special guest with me here today. Everyone say hello to Karla.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for watching this interview. I'm going to call it an interview because I have a few questions for Mrs. Lilac Crypto here, since she's very well knowledgeable in the crypto world. So if you don't mind, I have a few questions for you to answer. Okay, so the very first question that I would like to ask you is, tell me, what exactly is crypto?
Crypto is a digital currency. So if I take you back to the very beginning of crypto, if you guys remember the 2008 financial crisis or the mortgage crisis, when a lot of the mortgage-backed securities failed in the US, and that led to a global financial crisis. You imagine a time when the world was recovering from this crisis, and Bitcoin actually came into existence in 2009. And that era was called the Satoshi era. And of course, it's been about 10 years since then. Those Bitcoins that were mined during that time are still known as the Satoshi era Bitcoins. So crypto was started by this person or persons called Satoshi Nakamoto. We don't know who it is, but it's completely anonymous. But whoever that person created and mined the very first few Bitcoins, that was how it kind of started. And Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, they're kind of synonymous to a lot of people. And you just imagine a time when people were coming out of a global financial crisis, and they kind of needed another kind of currency that was not issued by banks, was not government regulated, and was more controlled by people. So there are a ton of cryptos out there today. Of course, it's been 11 years, but still people still think of Bitcoin when they say crypto. And I would say for any newbie, it's like digital currency. And of course, I would say Bitcoin now is like digital gold. So if you want to hold on to anything, it's holding on to Bitcoin. And the second largest crypto is Ethereum, and then you have Bitcoin Cash, and then you have different currencies like Dash, Monero, USDT, and now this platform that I'm working on, we're using Tron. So lots of cryptos out there. The stable ones are like Bitcoin and Ethereum, of course. USDT is tied to the US dollar. And the rest are just known as altcoins. Yeah. So that was kind of the start.
Oh, okay. Very interesting. I didn't know that crypto was actually related to the financial crisis. Everyone's heard of the financial crisis, even though I was very young when it happened. Even I know about it.
How young were you back then in 2008?
In 2008, I think I was 12. I'm 24 now, so I think I was 12.
Happy birthday, by the way. Happy 24th birthday.
Yeah, it was my birthday.
Enjoyed it.
I did. Okay, so my next question is actually a little bit controversial. So why is cryptocurrency still associated with the dark web, money washing, drugs, terrorism, and, illicit activities?
Okay, so good question. If you break down the word cryptocurrency, it's actually cryptic currency. So something that's cryptic. And because it's cryptic, it promises both transparency and anonymity. So in many ways, transparency and anonymity is an oxymoron, because how can you be transparent yet anonymous at the same time? And we enjoy this anonymity of cryptocurrency today because the ownerships of wallets can never be tracked. So if you ever lose your private keys, that's where you're kind of screwed, because you cannot go to a bank and verify that this wallet belongs to me. You cannot verify, or you cannot restore your wallet if you kind of lose your private keys. And there are so many horror stories of people, putting crypto in their wallets, and because they lose their private keys, because they lose their 12 words and so on, or the wallet has been compromised, then they kind of lose their crypto. So I'll give you one incident. There was one day I was trying to buy into an affiliate platform, and that platform, I asked my broker to transfer me some Tron, and immediately that amount of Tron got transferred out. So it got in, but then it went out to another wallet. Until today, I could never track where that Tron went to. And because I make so many YouTube videos, and I make so many demos, tutorials, maybe I forgot to blur out my private keys, maybe I forgot to blur out something, or maybe I've done something that I forgot, but I was never able to track down where that Tron went to, and that money is kind of gone forever. So that's anonymity. I can never track down whose wallet that wallet belonged to. So transparency, however, is being able to verify that that transaction did indeed happen. So in crypto, there's this buzzword called blockchain, and blockchain is essentially just a ledger. So you guys in accounting, you will know what the general ledger is. You have the general ledger, you have the trial balance, the closing trial balance, and the profit and loss statements and all that. So the ledger is just something that's stored on a public server, and that ledger is just known as the blockchain. And they use different blocks to verify that the transaction has happened. And yeah, that is just crypto for you. It's transparent and it's also anonymous. And why people associate it with the dark web and money washing and all that? Well, because people are afraid of things they don't understand. And yes, in the very beginning, there might have been roots in the dark web and people using it for transactions that are illicit, terrorism and all that. But today, you fast forward 11 years, it's not the same anymore. It's moving towards the light, and there's also mass adoption of crypto across the board. As a whole, as a business, as a financial currency, people are adopting crypto more and more. And a currency that is independent of governments. So when you say it's not regulated, does it also just mean it is illegal? Because when people say, okay, the phrase "burn the witch" kind of comes to mind, and just because in the old days when a woman is kind of not married and she has her own free will and she exercises independence, then society as a whole would say that she is a witch, because you can't regulate her, you can't control her. She's not somebody's wife. She's independent. She has her own free will, and you're a witch because of that. And in the same way, a currency that's not issued by government banks. When you go to Japan, you have the yen that's issued by the Japanese government. When you go to the UK, you have the pound issued by the UK government. And all these currencies are tied to a singular governance. And because cryptocurrency is not controlled by any one of these governments, governments come forth and say that yes, it is illegal, it is not regulated. But for me, it's like a wildflower growing in a forest, and say compare it to your little garden patio that you have at home. And that for me is exciting because it's a whole new world and it's new, and we're still in its infancy. I won't say it's super new, but it's still not as widely accepted or adopted yet. But moving forward, I would still like to see more adoption of crypto, of course, and I would like to be at the forefront of that. It's an exciting, new territory, and the technology of cryptocurrency has also been adopted by a lot of tech companies like Facebook, and you have the Libra coin, and then you also have banks like JP Morgan. You have people like Jamie Dimon coming up with the JPM coin. So the technology even for that uh, is being adopted by these people. Yeah, so that's my answer.
Okay, that's very, I like that analogy of the witch, burning the witch, because it's true. People are afraid of things that they don't understand or things that they don't know, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. So that is a very good analogy for it.
It's funny when you said burn the witch, because you're in the UK now, and
Yeah.
it kind of started there, right? In
Yeah.
the paganism and the Anglo-Saxon. It's all
Yeah.
from that part of the world.
That. Yeah.
So I'm sure you have exposure to a lot of that as well. The
Yeah,
English
definitely. I
countryside,
find it very interesting, actually.
especially now. It's autumn. It's coming close to Halloween.
True, that's true. We're on theme.
What are you going as for Halloween?
I'm not sure. Actually, I haven't really thought about it. I don't know if people are actually dressing up this year because of COVID, but I would I would love to dress up as a vampire because I'm actually currently reading a book about vampires. So I think it would be very on point. Plus, it's very easy. I just have to get like fake fangs, blood, and a
Do you always go as vampires, like even last year?
no, last year actually I went as Chucky's bride.
Wow.
It was a couple costume. I dressed up with my boyfriend. He dressed up as Chucky and I dressed up as Chucky's bride. So it was fun because she's blonde, she has dark roots, so it fit my hair as well.
So okay, so between team vampire, and team werewolf, you always go for vampire. Is that your thing?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Although I'm not a teen anymore. So what I want to ask next is how did you first get into it?
um, you know, Bitcoin actually started in 2009, and
Mhm.
it stayed relatively cheap in its infancy years, of course. And we all wished we had bought Bitcoin back then, but I have no regrets because it only really exploded in its later years, in its teenage years. So around the time of the 2017 Bitcoin bubble was when I actually started to really seriously get into it. And a lot of these exchanges like Coinbase started in 2014, Binance started in 2017. So a lot of these exchanges were now much easily available to the public if they wanted to get into crypto and into Bitcoin. And prior to that, you just didn't have the tools, you didn't have the information to access it. It was still like in the dark web, and the barrier of entry back then was a lot harder. I remember watching this TV news on TV. Richard Branson, Virgin Mobile, Virgin Galactic, he kind of bought a bunch of Bitcoin and it made huge news. But of course, back then I was like, how the hell do I get into it? So the tools weren't available, the information wasn't available, and only now, today, I would say in the past 2 to 3 years, it has become more accessible to people, to the public. I was running clubs at the time, so I was in club operations. The club was marketed as Singapore's first cryptocurrency club. You can go to Google, you can research Singapore's first cryptocurrency club, Skyline. You could buy a bottle of DOM with Bitcoin. You could send, Ethereum as payment for your DOMs, and that was quite cool to me. Of course, that club is now defunct. It's the topic of decentralization in crypto is what appeals to me as well, because even when you run clubs, there's always a central pool of funds, like a central bank account or a central depository, or one person who holds the account, the CFO or the majority shareholder who holds most of the shares, or he holds the funds, the keys to the bank account, or the keys to the funds. And anytime you can just shut the club down. So that's the opposite of crypto as well. So at the time Bitcoin was at 20,000. I remember in 2017, And a lot of people got in around that time, but they also lost money because they kind of entered at the peak when it was 20,000, and they thought it was gonna have a further, like, much higher bull run. But what happened was after 20,000, Bitcoin crashed to, I think, maybe less than 6,000, maybe five. And a lot of people lost money then. But I was lucky. I got in early, way before the bull run, and I did make some money because I had some gamer friends who introduced me to crypto. The very first wallet I owned was a Coinbase. I was so clueless back then, and the first trading platform I used was Bitfinex. I don't use it right now. I kind of moved on to other things, but that was my first foray into crypto. And yeah, for those people who lost money and kind of got burned, I would say just give it another chance. It's trading. When you're trading, you have to be kind of emotionless about it, because if you lose money, then you can also make money. Don't trade with money you cannot lose. Like, always play with money you can afford to lose. Even at, like, when you're gambling or you're in a casino, you're trading, you're investing, how much are you willing to lose? So if that investment tanks, then are you okay with losing that amount of money? And you, psychology wise, also have to be ready for that as well, because I have lost
Right.
money as well. you know I made money then, but I also lost money later on in crypto. So you just have to be psychologically ready as well. Your risk tolerance.
Right, right. That's very good advice. So now I want you to tell me about the different types of cryptocurrencies. Why are there so many? And if I were to get any, what should I get? What's the difference? What are the rates?
Yeah. So if you, Carla, if you ever want to get into crypto more, then I would say that the top three cryptocurrencies are Bitcoin, Ethereum, and USDT. I always focus on these three. Bitcoin is the original cryptocurrency. Everyone thinks of Bitcoin when you say crypto, and it is almost synonymous. It is the first, it is the original. Today's price of Bitcoin just went over 12,000 US dollars, so it was kind of flirting with the 10,000 to 11,000 dollar range. So Bitcoin, for me, if you watch one of my videos, I always say Bitcoin is like a store of value. It is like gold. It is like, digital gold in the crypto space, in the digital world. And no matter what, for me, it's always gonna be like the first currency, because even before the US dollar, before you had money like as we know it today, people carried like gold nuggets, shillings, and gold pieces. So that was currency back then. And that was the original currency, before even after barter trading, then they kind of created the gold system. And then they had the gold standard, and then fiat money today. So Bitcoin, being the first one, then I'll say it's like digital gold. Keep it to, protect your purchasing power, to kind of have real estate in crypto. So the second cryptocurrency that I would recommend you to look at is Ethereum. And the technology for Ethereum came out 6 years after Bitcoin, and in so many ways it is much faster, and the transfers per second is a lot faster than Bitcoin. The technology is newer, and because it's more of a utility token, a lot of business platforms that use smart contracts actually use Ethereum to run and to generate earnings. But recently, because of the gas fees of Ethereum, it has kind of become too expensive for a lot of people. So the second best option is to use Tron. So Tron was actually built on top of the Ethereum blockchain, and it has its own TRC20 network blockchain that was built on top of Ethereum, and it was created by this guy called Justin Sun. He is on the Forbes 30 under 30. He's somebody, you and I were both under 30. But I don't, do you think you can make the Forbes 30 under 30, Carla?
I hope so.
You need to be somebody to be there. And
Yeah.
he was Alibaba's Jack Ma. He was his student, one of his best students, and he's someone insanely connected. He created this whole new token that was launched in Singapore in 2018, and because of that, the technology built on top of Ethereum is a lot faster, of course. The third one you really need to look at is USDT. So I always accept payments in USDT if it's for work. If I am accepting some form of payment in crypto, I always request for USDT. Even if I sell my crypto back into fiat currency, I always do USDT because the T in USDT just stands for tether. So it's tied or tethered to the US dollar. So it's very stable. It's relatively more stable than Bitcoin or Ethereum that can fluctuate in minutes. And it's like when you tether your phone's hotspot to your computer Wi-Fi. And I always transact with USDT, and I don't have to worry too much about price fluctuations. In 1 week, I remember Ethereum's price went from 380 to 420 in just a week. And I don't want to deal with that kind of major fluctuation when I'm accepting payments. So if you're, buying or selling USDT for work, accepting some form of currency as payment, then I always get USDT. And you can also stake USDT if you're into staking, and it's one of the more stable ones. There are a ton of other altcoins out there, and you can say that those coins are purely speculative. And there are about 7,000 altcoins out there. Anyone can launch a coin, really. So let's just say today I want to launch a Karla coin, and Karla, everybody loves Karla, and people love the work that Karla has done, and all hail Queen Karla. So Karla launches a coin, and now people want to buy into that coin, and that coin appreciates. So now there we have it, a new altcoin called the Karla coin. And there are so many altcoins that come to mind, like the rapper Akon. He has his own altcoin called the A coin. And there's also the famous Doji coin that a lot of the memes are using the Doji coin. If you're into Tumblr and into memes, then you will know what Doji coin means. And yeah, there's no central governance that controls the coin price. A lot of it is largely speculative. It's based on a community build, and that's the top 3 cryptocurrencies, or top 4. Yeah, I mentioned 4, right? Bitcoin, Ethereum, Tron, and USDT. Yeah, so those are the coins you want to get. Each of it has its own different purposes, of course. So I always hold those 4 coins.
Oh, okay. I would love to get a Karla coin though. So my next is, are my earnings in cryptocurrencies taxable? If they're not, why not?
Okay, so this is a very interesting question, and because I remember, living in London and living in Singapore is a little bit different. And if you're Karla, you're a model as well, right? So you understand that the payments that you receive, like a model fee, whenever you do photo shoots, you get a model fee. Those earnings are not tax deductible. So the money that I make modeling, even in Singapore, it's not something that I need to declare. It's kind of my own earnings. And because I also live in the tax haven of Asia, I live in Singapore, there is no regulation on, I would say, capital gains tax. So in, not just for crypto, in many other businesses as well, a lot of investors come to Singapore to kind of enjoy low tax rates and the incentives that they kind of get when they set up shop here. And that is also why we are a major financial port, because we do not have these capital gains tax. And as a Singaporean, even my stock dividends, when I buy into stocks, my dividends, they are not tax deductible. I don't have to declare it. I don't have to, pay back the government any form of tax on my capital appreciation or my dividends. The 7 countries in the world where cryptocurrency investments are not taxed, Singapore is one of them. Okay. The 7 countries in the world where cryptocurrencies are not taxed, Singapore is one of them. There's also Germany, Portugal, Malta, Malaysia, Belarus, and Switzerland. And that is also why so many crypto exchanges in the world have their licenses in Malta. So Malta is this tiny little island in the Eurozone, and it's one of the cheapest places to get licensed. About 10K US dollars, you can get your license for your crypto platform. And that's an incredibly low amount, because if you license your platform in London or in Singapore, that's bigger. It's going to be 10 times of that. It's going to be at least 100,000 just to get the license. So, you can say that businesses in Singapore buy and sell virtual currencies will not be taxed on that kind of income, uh, because it's a hugely known fact that Singapore is a tax haven for not just for crypto investors, but for many other businesses and investors in other fields as well. So I can't speak for other countries, but I know that this is how it is in my country, that it's a tax haven. Yeah. I hope that answered your question. And
Thank you so much. So, how can I start investing in cryptocurrency?
Okay, so if you want to start, then there's a few platforms out there that you on the market, and each one is different from each other. So EasyTron already. EasyTron kind of runs on an affiliate commissions model, where you kind of need to keep getting people to click on your link to actually enjoy the profits that you're going to get. And I kind of categorize them into two different categories. So the direct competition and the indirect competition. So the platform that we're working on right now, it runs on smart contracts, and smart contracts only really came about in 2020, this year. It's kind of the diamond, of an opportunity that came to us this year, and I know that I'm going to exit 2020 even better than when I first entered because of these smart contracts. There's no central company that holds your funds. There's no central depository. It's so progressive. It's such a progressive business model as well. There won't be any internal mismanagement, and where the business grows to become too unsustainable, or there's a greedy owner and the business shuts down because for whatever reason, and leaving all the investors, the shareholders, in the lurk. And yeah, so if you ever want to start investing, then all you need to do is first acquire some crypto from an exchange like Binance. The world's largest exchange is Binance. The Chinese, they use Huobi, and there's so many. You can even use Coinbase. There's like Outswitch, CoinSwitch, Adminly. Just really depends on your own preference or comfort level, but because I am working with an international crowd, I always recommend Binance. Yeah, so if you want to start investing, there's two ways. Direct competition, I will say, platforms like Forsage, Lionshare, that's in direct competition with EasyTron. Of course, Forsage is like the MacDaddy of smart contracts. It came out first, and we kind of model it and we kind of respect it to be the first one to come up with it. And then you also have indirect. So platforms like Torque, is indirect. It's also dealing with crypto, but it's a different business model. They use arbitrage scraping, they use arbitrage trading, and a little bit different from smart contracts, but still you can make money on these platforms, a little bit slower as well. Be very wary of high ROI plans that kind of promise you high returns at a very fast rate. More often than not, those platforms are gonna, wham bang and close just like that, because they are not built for longevity. They're built for immediate returns, very high returns, very fast returns, but also very high risk. So you need to know when to enter and when to exit. And I hope you exit at the right time before you lose all your money, before everything is stuck, before you try to do a KYC and nothing comes out, try to log in and can't log in, horror stories like these. So if you want to start investing, go with somebody trusted. Google is free. Your tons of reviews out there. Just kind of follow those reviews and understand the business model as well. Get someone trusted to kind of explain it to you.
Yeah, if it seems too good to be true, usually it is too good to be true.
Yeah.
So, what is crypto stable currency?
Can you rephrase that? Can you rephrase that? Can
Yeah,
you say it again?
that's what it says. What is crypto stable currency? It's written here.
Okay, so it should be what
Or
is.
is it
Oh, you can ask like
crypto?
what is cryptocurrency stable? Like you can ask is cryptocurrency
Okay,
stable?
okay, let me just do that again. So my next question is cryptocurrency stable?
Okay, so the right word for this should be volatile. Like okay, let me do that again. Okay, so the right word you're actually looking for is volatility. So when you say is it stable, do you mean is it like can it be volatile? Can it be you know because it is unregulated? Yes, sometimes it can be a little bit unstable, but I would say that those are teething problems. So Bitcoin, of course, in the very beginning, it went like bull run right towards the mid 2010s. And in the recent years, Bitcoin has only been flirting with the 10,000 mark. 2017, of course, the famous Bitcoin bubble, we all know that. It went up to almost 20,000, then the bubble burst and it went down to 5,000. A lot of people lost money, a lot of people made money as well. And I always see it as a store of value, as a hedge against inflation. Earlier this year, the March 2020 economic crash when COVID happened, I bought Bitcoin when it went all the way down to 5,000, and for me, that's like buying in the dips. I myself was kind of worried that Bitcoin was supposed, cryptocurrency is supposed to be uh, not in correlation to most of the world's economy. It's not supposed to be like when the Nasdaq crashed, when the Dow crashed, and all these stock exchanges crashed. Why did Bitcoin also crash at the same time? So that was my question. So it crashed all the way to 5,000, but I still bought more Bitcoin, and it rebounded a lot faster than the stock market. So uh, some of those stock indexes still are not even fully recovered today as of October 2020. And, you know, I would say if you're looking at volatility, then you want to look for a coin like Ethereum because of its, because it's good if you're day trading, then yes, you can take advantage of that volatility. But if you're looking for something more stable, then of course, USDT tied to the US dollar, you can just buy it, hold it, keep it. And of course, Bitcoin, buy the dips and hold on to it. And you can keep it long term, wait for price appreciation in the long term. So different strategies depending on what you're looking for.
Okay. So I actually want you to bust some myths for us. I've got myths here and let us know true or false. So myth number one, criminal activities, washing
Exciting.
machine, they exist in the crypto world.
Okay, so I kind of addressed this myth earlier on already. So people always say Bitcoin is used as a washing machine, like currency is a washing machine currency, where you're gonna use it for money laundering, and I would say yes, in its early days, yes, it was kind of used for that. I won't deny it. That was how it kind of started. But look at banks today. Banks are also part of money laundering systems. And I was quite disillusioned by banks actually in 2018 when, banks also had this thing called the AML procedure, so the anti-money laundering, put in place in their systems. And I felt like everything was a scam because even these big banks, they're also doing all these money laundering, money washing. And I remember one particular case study, HSBC, Hong Kong Shanghai Bank. It's, Hong Kong is Shanghai, it's in China. And then they had this, large syndicate in, I believe it was in uh, that part of the world where Pablo Escobar lives. Which part of the world is that again? Do you know?
Latin America, is it?
Yeah, Latin America, one part of Latin America.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, like what is HSBC like doing in Latin America, right? But was there, and they kind of they were exposed as being part of an money laundering syndicate, you know, and the I felt like banks are doing it, but they have all these AML procedures, but they're still part of it, So it's not just cryptocurrencies, even the big banks are. Even Standard Chartered, we have all these cases every few years. A big case like that pops up, and they're slapped with a $4 million fine, $5 million fine, and they just pay it, and like the day goes on, like it's like nothing happened. Just pay a fine and you move on. So these things are always going to be happening, and um, yeah, it's just what it is. You can buy drugs with the US dollar. Can I also say that the US dollar is part of criminal activities? So in reality, anything can be a syndicate. What about jewelry syndicates? So I read this article recently about the Miranda jewelry smuggling incident, where she was kind of part of a criminal movement where they were moving like diamonds, like very expensive diamonds and very expensive like necklaces, and she didn't know she was part of a kind of like a small cog in a huge wheel. And anything could be, it's just a medium. It could be jewelry, it could be fiat, it could be crypto. So I won't say it's like just crypto. It could be anything, but you can also use it for good. You can buy jewelry for your wife. You can give money to your family. You can give crypto to someone you love, and you can make money with crypto. So it just really depends on your intent. I won't say it's just tied to one industry. Yeah.
So now we've got myth number 2. There is only one huge blockchain. True or false?
That's funny because not true. Every coin has its own blockchain. Every coin, even Ethereum, you have the ERC20, and you have the ledger, that's Etherscan. Same for Tron. Tron was a kind of a new token that's launched about 2 to 3 years back, and it was built on top of Ethereum. So now you have the TRC20, which is the Tron blockchain. And if you want to verify any of the transactions, just go to the ledger, Tron scan. So yeah, it's just a common misconception that there is one huge blockchain. It's not true. Every coin has its own blockchain technology. Yep, it's a simple one.
So it's one huge blockchain. So my next question is any one currency better than the other? If yes, why?
So again, what you're using it for, and if you're using it as a store of value, like go get Bitcoin. If you're using it for swaps, get Ethereum. The new trend in the market right now, Uniswap. You're using MetaMask. There's also Ethereum Gold. It's a new one. So if you're using things for payment, then you use USDT. I highly recommend it. It's peer-to-peer, and it's closely backed by the US dollar. It's USD Tether. Next question.
Okay, so it depends on what you're using it for.
Yeah.
So I want you to tell us if there are any risks of investing in such a market.
Okay. So I always say first, something that a lot of people are worried, like price fluctuation risk, like currency fluctuation. So if you're doing Forex, like foreign exchange, you always look at the currency pair, right? So like say I'm trading the pound to the Sing dollar, then if the Sing dollar appreciates the pound, then whenever I get Sing dollar, then I'll get less pound. So there's always some kind of fluctuation there. There's always some kind of volatility there. But of course, this is pound and Sing dollar is a little bit more stable. But if I'm trading like exotic currencies like the Thai baht against the Norwegian krone, then it's I wouldn't say Norway is the Norwegian krone is not as stable, but something like the African, or I don't know, let's just say the rupee, okay, the Indian rupee, and then you're using the baht versus the rupee, so there's always some kind of fluctuation risk, but you don't have to worry too much about it. If you're using something like the stable coins, then the little decimal points, the variations in decimal points like 0.0007 and then 0.0009, you don't have to worry too much about it. And if you're looking at any kind of crypto investment, so you're investing to a platform like EasyTron or like Corsage or like Torque even, every investments carry some sort of, I'll say, uh, business risk. So you have to weigh in, of course, what's happening in the business. So keep very close tabs on the business, understand the business, study the founder, study the business. Of course, platforms like EasyTron and Corsage, Lionshare, they run on smart contracts. So there's no platform that actually holds your money. And you just need to understand that these platforms are affiliate commissions businesses or multi-tiered marketing business. So you always need to bring someone in order to make a profit. And you can't just rely on spillover, you can't just rely on the community matrix. So when I enter into a community, I don't want to be that person who comes in with nothing. I don't want to be that person who goes to my friend's house and just eats everything and I bring nothing. I don't bring a single bottle of wine. I don't bring anything to contribute. And Carla, do you know anything about Burning Man?
No, I don't.
Have you heard of it?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so Burning Man is a festival in the desert. It's like a makeshift art festival. And every year
Oh,
they kind of come together in this desert. It's a few miles off of Las Vegas, so it's in the Black Rock City, Nevada desert in Los Angeles. And it's why they call it Black Rock is because there are black rocks, like it's mountains and
oh yeah.
space. So if you think of it, it's like you have a Coachella in the desert, but it's a lot bigger than that. And it's a community build, so it's a barter system. Sorry, repeat that. Just
I've
repeat.
heard of Coachella.
Okay, yeah. So it's a music festival. People come and wear their best costumes, their best art mobiles, and there is a system in Burning Man where you rely on barter trades. So let's just say I want
Right.
your whatever. I want to use the toilet in your trailer because I don't have a toilet or someone's using the toilet. Then can I trade it for like a bottle of water? Or what's famous in Burning Man? Can I trade some LSD for like for like something else? It's a festival, so you know what I mean, right? I can hear you.
Yeah, yeah. I was thinking, I want worth of that. What should I trade it with?
Yeah, so use your imagination, use your creativity. What can you trade it with? But very common gifts in Burning Man. Like I found the best gifts were like bottles of water, water sprays because it's so hot here in the desert. Chinese fans, if you have a Chinese fan, like those little fans, yeah, those are really good gifts. Pocket mirrors, and yeah, those were I found were one of the most underrated but most useful gifts. And what was I saying? Oh yeah, okay. So I don't want to be. So back to my point. Whenever I enter a community, I want to be that person who also contributes. So I always have something with me, and this is a system I also learned, or rather a practice that I also learned in beauty pageants. Whenever you go to a beauty pageant, you want to give the other girls gifts, like pocket mirrors, like little ties, scarf ties, eyelashes. I found that falsies, like false eyelashes, the little mink ones that you give to all the girls. Girls actually like those gifts, they like receiving eyelashes, and
Yes,
you can give,
I would.
little pins, little pictures. So you want to be that person when you enter a new community, new space. You want to contribute something. So in this space of EasyTron, I also want to be that kind of person who creates spillovers. So I want to be that person who also brings in new people on board the platform. It is a franchise model where you kind of bring in new people all the time to make the business flourish. And if you think about it, any business needs new customers all the time. If you open a bar, in where are you, Carla, in the UK? Are you still in Kent?
Yeah, I'm still in Kent.
Okay, let's just say I open a bar in Kent, and I decide that me and Carla are going to be shareholders in this new bar. And you put 50%, I put 50%, and we start the bar. Okay, so now the bar is set up. So what's next, right? I got all the liquor suppliers, I got the food, I got the chef, everything. They're all there to stock. And now I need to bring in customers, right? To bring in sales and to pay for the chef, to pay for the rent, to make up for my equity and everything, to pay for all the liquor suppliers, of course. And so now me and Carla, both of us, we have to bring in new people to the bar so that we can make money. So in the same way, this platform of EasyTron, we also need to bring in new people for the platform to make money, to give back to everyone else. And the beauty of this program is it doesn't just flow up. It doesn't go all the way up to a founder and then he kind of disseminates payment. It doesn't happen like that. Everything is done peer to peer, peer to peer, peer to peer. So when the money comes in, you also get money back. It's like that, it's like a cycle. And that is what I really enjoy about this platform. And because of this smart contract that's written, I'm gonna tell you for sure, I'm gonna exit 2020 even better when I enter 2020 because of my efforts and because of everyone else's efforts. So that's why I love it. That's why I'm here. And you know, uh, no key man risk. Something you asked about risk, right? Investing in such a platform. Key man risk is when you have one very important person in the platform that if anything happens to this person, like he gets in a car crash, he dies, and then no one knows what to do with the business. This doesn't happen like that because the smart contract or the line of code is already deployed into the blockchain, and you can even start putting in Tron uh, and start making money from it already. So there's no one owner who kind of holds and controls everything. So that kind of eliminates keyman risk already. And price fluctuation. If you're into Tron, people are saying that Tron will appreciate into 3 cents and then into a dollar. So Tron to the moon, because Tron by market cap, it is one of the top 20. It is at number 16 right now. But by trading volume, because all these different smart contract platforms are using Tron, can you imagine the volume of Tron that's being traded every single day? So right now, Tron is already at like number 6 by trading volume, and if people are keep using it, keep trading it, then of course Tron is going to go up and up. But of course, if you don't want to keep it, then you always convert it back to USDT and back to your own currency. So yeah, if there's anything, I would like to hold on to my crypto because I found this quote. It says that Bitcoin is helpful if you want to have some assets that aren't denominated by the US dollar or any other country's currency. And if you want to hold on to any assets that's away from the dollar, then hold crypto. Because don't forget that even your dollar is depreciating every year and it's losing against inflation. So every year there's inflation. So we're losing up to inflation, of course. And even stocks, you have to keep track of your stocks all the time. If a company crashes, if a company goes bankrupt, then there goes your stock portfolio. So there is an element of risk, but it's also based on your risk tolerance as well. Yep, that's all for me.
Okay, thank you so much for all these helpful tips. And before we go, I do have one important question that I know everyone thinks about. So, can you actually get conned in the crypto world?
Okay, so I said it before. Once you understand the rules of crypto, then you can kind of protect yourself, or they call it hedge against risk. So a good hedge is, when you enter into some sort of contract, you must understand the rules for the business as well. I myself have lost money before. I have lost money in crypto, and that is because it was kind of a centralized business as well. You need to understand the business, who is running it, or at least who is operating it. Don't kind of just leave your money somewhere and neglect it. So always do your research, always read articles. Google is free, and of course, never invest more money than you can afford to lose. That is the best advice I can give. Um, yeah, just do your due diligence. Do your due diligence. Yeah. Mhm.
Okay, thank you so much for that wonderful advice. I actually learned so much through this, and I hope it was the same for everyone who's going to watch this interview. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Karla, for joining me on the podcast.